Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 100 Wonders of the World. Today we'll be talking about Jerusalem, and that's in Israel, and it is the part of continent Asia. Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a religious focal point for the three great faiths of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. It is also recorded in the 18th century BCE Amarna, letters from the reign of Pharaoh Ankhenaton as Urushalaim, city of peace. For Christians, the old city of Jerusalem and its nearby environs are holy because this is the site of the passion, crucifixion, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. For Jews, Jerusalem is the holy city, the capital of the first kingdom of the Jews. And for Muslims, the city is holy because of its connection with the Prophet Muhammad's journey to heaven. He is understood to have ascended to heaven from what is today the Temple Mount, known as the Noble Sanctuary, Al-Haram al-Sharif in Arabic. Over the centuries, the city has frequently been the focus of sectarian violence, war, and other varieties of conflict between religions and governments. Indeed, over the course of its long history, Jerusalem, a city that means so much to so many people all over the world, has known few periods of peace, though peace is a part of its name, Shalom in Hebrew and Salam in Arabic. Jerusalem is one of the oldest urban settlements. The area has been continually occupied for at least 5,000 years. Egyptian sources mention the city in the 18th century BCE by the name Urushalaim, one translation of which is City of Peace. The legendary King David conquered Jerusalem in 1997 BCE, making the city of David the center of the kingdom of Israel. Since then, Jerusalem has served as the religious and cultural center of Judaism. It was David's successor, Solomon, 1969 to 1930 BCE, who built the great temple to Yahweh in the center of the old city. Over the following centuries, it was repeatedly discredited and destroyed. Herod the Great built the second temple on the site, which in turn was destroyed by the Roman Titus in 70 CE. Arabs conquered Jerusalem in 687, leaving the Christian population in peace following the Orthodox patriarchs voluntarily hand over the city. Crusaders rolled into the city under the command of the Von Berlin in 1099, and in just 3 days proceeded to slaughter the civilian population, killing as many as 20,000 inhabitants. By 1187, Saladin, then Sultan of Egypt, has succeeded in regaining control of Jerusalem. Between 1229 and 1244, it was once again the Crusaders, the time under Emperor Frederick II, who ruled the city. Thereafter, the city was ruled by the Ayyubids and Mamluks. By 1516, the city was only inhabited by about 10,000 people and was no longer important. Only Muslims were given citizenship and legal rights. The Ottoman Turks took over rule of Jerusalem in 1560, leading to a period of expansion and progress. Sultan Suleiman I the Magnificent rebuilt the fortifications around the city, walls that still stand today, giving Jerusalem's old city its characteristic appearance. Jews and Christians were considered second-class citizens in that period, a situation that continued into the middle of the 19th century when the situation worsened. In the years following 1860, more and more Jews immigrated to Jerusalem, settling in new quarters outside the old city walls. Then came World War I, during which British troops occupied Jerusalem in 1917. The British mandate, as well as growing Jewish immigration, led to increased tensions and overt conflict between the Arabs, the Jews, and the British. In 1947, the United Nations adopted the partition plan for Palestine, ending the British mandate and dividing the country into two states, one Jewish and one Arab. The status of Jerusalem was to be international. The Jews accepted the plan and declared the State of Israel. The Arabs rejected the partition plan and declared war on Israel. Jerusalem was consequently divided, with its western part within Israel and its eastern part annexed to Jordan. In 1950, Israel declared Jerusalem its capital city. With a few exceptions, the international community refused to recognize Jerusalem as such. In the Six-Day War of June 1967, Israel paratroopers occupied East Jerusalem, and by the end of June, despite the United Nations protest, Israel annexed East Jerusalem to Israel and declared it to be within the municipal boundaries of Jerusalem. The Israeli occupation of East Jerusalem remains a subject of controversy and is considered by many parties as one of the major hindrances to peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Jerusalem is still a city of many religions and related movements and cults. Over the course of many centuries, the world religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam have left the deepest impression. Magnificent buildings, fascinating ruins, and stunning masterpieces sit side by side, making the city a religious and art historical center of the highest rank. In this regard, as well as in the religious sense, Jerusalem has been truly blessed. The Church of the Holly Sepulcher is located at the very heart of the Old City. Eastern Orthodox Christians call it the Church of the Resurrection, believing it to mark the place where Jesus was buried and where he rose again from the dead. The altar of the church lies directly over a hole in the bedrock, believed to be the very hole in which the cross of the crucifixion once stood. Scholars continue to debate whether this is indeed Golgotha, which the Bible says was outside the city, as would be expected according to what is known of Roman executions and Jewish burial practices. Although alternate sites for the crucifixion and burial of Christ have been proposed, belief that this is the place goes back at least to the time of Constantine the Great, and there is scholarship that suggests the church did lie outside the city walls at the time of events in question. The administration of the holy site is shared among the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Armenian, Syrian Orthodox, Coptic Christian, and Ethiopian churches. The wide variations between their individual beliefs can lead to tension and territorial infighting at this most revered place in all of Christianity. The Dome of the Rock sits high above the city on the Temple Mount, called Al-Haram al-Sharif in Arabic. It is one of the oldest Islamic religious buildings in the world, from 687 to 691. It is not a mosque, but literally a shrine honoring the rock, a hollow in the bedrock where, according to tradition, the Prophet Muhammad stepped and left this print as he began his ascent to heaven. The dome is one of the earliest examples of monumental Islamic architecture and one of the most recognizable symbols of the city of Jerusalem. The shrine, octagonal in plane, is 180 feet in diameter. The exterior of its magnificent dome is covered in sheets of pure gold, but the elaborate mosques that adorn every surface of its interior are, if anything, an even greater wonder. The western wall is what Jews refer as a remnant of the original, 1,000 feet long terraced platform that supported the Second Temple, built by Herod the Great on this site and later destroyed by the Romans in the year 70 CE. The Wailing Wall, as other religious communities call it, is the holiest Jewish site. Ever since the Six-Day War ended in 1967, large numbers of pilgrims have journeyed here to pray. Many faithful stick small pieces of paper with prayers and special requests into the cracks between the stones. Most Jews view the Western Wall as a symbol of a covenant between God and the Jewish people. The Al-Aqsa Mosque also sits atop the Haram al-Sharif, not from the Dome of the Rock. The Haram, with its two important sacred buildings, is the third most important site in all of Islam, after the Kaaba in Mecca and the Mosque of the Prophet in Medina. The Al-Aqsa Mosque was begun some 30 years later than the Dome of the Rock from 705 through 715 on the site of the Christian Church of Saint Maria, atop which the Muslim ruler Al-Walid set a dome in 711, declaring the once Christian basilica a mosque in the process. This deep affront to the Christian community, along with the fact that both that Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock sit on the Temple Mount, has led to tensions between the different religions that have spread for outside Jerusalem itself. One modern site in Jerusalem is devoted to the most horrifying events of more recent history, known unofficially outside Israel as the Holocaust Museum. Its official designation is Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Authority. Its Hebrew name, Yad Vashem, means a memorial, and a name, a reference to the biblical verse Isaiah 56:5, which states, "And to them will I give in my house and within my walls a memorial and a name, worth more than all my sons and daughters, an eternal name that shall not be wiped out." Both a memorial and a monument to the Jewish victims of the Nazis. An entire cavernous hall of the museum is covered with small engraved plates bearing their names. A visit to Yad Vashem leaves a deep impression with exhibitions of the horrors of the Holocaust, designed not so much to report as to raise awareness and rouse visitors to action. Thank you for listening, everyone, and stay tuned for more of the 100 Wonders of the World. Thank you.